after more than 1.5 years, it's a great pleasure to have an in-person event right now with you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for those who are joining us online. Today, we are pleased to have speakers from Turkey, Jordan, Lebanon, and Taiwan, and the United States representing the project. We will hear, in the first half of the program, you will hear representatives from this project, which will be followed by 2 panel discussions. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. As we are doing a hybrid event, we will be able to receive questions, luckily, from Zoom for the panel discussions. For those who are joining us online, please send your questions for the panelists via the Q&A function. One last thing is for our guests here. Please remember to wear your mask while listening to the panel. And if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand. We will bring you the microphone. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. In this first session, we will hear from İpek Cemtaha, who is the Director of Columbia Global Centers, Istanbul.
Thank you, Sedan, and thanks to everyone for being here and being on the Zoom. We're extremely excited, like Sedan has mentioned. I am İpek Cemtaha, the Director of Columbia's Global Center in Istanbul. We are part of a global network of research centers in 9 cities, including places like Nairobi, Paris, Mumbai, Rio, Tunis, Amman, and others. And we're lucky to have also another project partner with us on the Columbia side. I'd like to recognize Ahmed Al Musa from the Amman Center. Ahmed, please identify yourself. Another partner in the REACH project. Without further ado, I just wanted to say, as we all know, COVID has taught us many lessons and is continuing to teach us many lessons, which also shows the relevance and importance of the work conducted by Özge and Yanis and our very valuable partners. So thank you to everyone for holding it together in this difficult year and continuing the work. Our Columbia partners, our other partners in Istanbul and elsewhere. I wanted to say that one of the things that is plaguing our world today and that we're talking about a lot is the extreme inequality and injustice that's happening around the world, and that is also being expedited by forced migration and the issue of refugees. We are feeling it a lot in Istanbul, in Turkey, but elsewhere in the world as well. So us coming together and trying to find constructive and productive and humane solutions is very significant, is maybe a drop in the bucket, but the bucket fills up by all those drops. And I think refugees act and communicate for health is one of those important drops. So thank you to everyone. Through REACH, we're very pleased to implement in some capacity one of the missions of Columbia University, which is to find solutions for urgent global problems. To this end, as Özge and Yanis are very well aware and engaged with, Columbia University this year started the first climate school to address the cascading problems related with climate change that we're all experiencing to some degree, and which also impacts the refugee crisis in some locations around the world. So without further ado, I wanted to extend a special thank you to Yanis and Özge, obviously not just to them. And I wanted to also recognize the Taiwan International Corporation for Development Fund, who has generously supported this work over the years and who stands by us these days where we need it the most. And without further ado, I'd like to pass it to the real actors of the project, and waiting to hear from you. Very excited. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, both in the room and online. My name is Yanis Benamor. I'm the Executive Director of the Center for Sustainable Development at Columbia University. I'm also an assistant professor at the School of International Public Affairs at Columbia, and I am one of the co-founders of the REACH project that is bringing us all together today. So I want to welcome you all again, as Ipek did, to our event this afternoon. The mission of the Center for Sustainable Development is to help countries and communities achieve sustainable development in all of its dimensions: economic, social, and environmental, by translating the Sustainable Development Goals into meaningful policies and solutions. Our research project, policy work, and convening initiatives span across SDGs, including environment, education, gender and health, as well as well-being. We advise government, companies, and implementing partners around the world on sustainable development policies and best practices. CSD mobilizes the scientific expertise of the Earth Institute at Columbia to create solutions for the challenges of sustainable development. And so in 2019, in order to expand our work, we felt that it was not possible to reach the SDGs by 2030 without actually also tackling the problem of migration and the problems that refugees are facing worldwide. And that problem obviously is getting bigger and bigger. So let me tell you a few words about the REACH project. So the REACH project we started in 2019 as a partnership with many of you, particularly Columbia Global Centers Istanbul, and with the generous support of Taiwan and Taiwan International Cooperation and Development Fund, Taiwan ICDF. So the project employs community-based participatory action research, CBPAR, which we will hear more about. It has been recognized as a unique approach to conduct research with, rather than on, communities. Using CBPAR and implementation science method, REACH aims to assess the impact of information and communication technologies on accessing reliable health information and available health services, and to contribute to the limited scientific literature on ICT intervention for health in countries that host large refugee populations like Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan. So 2 years ago, in this very city, we had our launch event. It was a stakeholders meeting, and the idea was to bring together all the experts to try to understand where we were. So we didn't have to reinvent the wheel, but mostly listen to the voices of the expert and work together. And so we did not expect, obviously, that we were going to be hindered by this worldwide pandemic. This event has been a long time in the making. This was originally scheduled for March 2020, but luckily we are now able to have it in person, and it's my absolute pleasure to see all of your warm faces. And again, I want to welcome you to this event today. Thank you.
Next, we will hear from His Excellency Ambassador Volkan Chi Yang Huang. Please forgive my pronunciation, from Taipei Economic and Cultural Mission in Ankara.
Do the protocol to take off the mask. Executive Director Dr. Amr from the Center for Sustainable Development from Columbia University, and Ipek Hanım, yes, Hanım, the Director for the Columbia Global Center in Istanbul. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, merhaba. It's been a pleasure for me to be here. We drove all the way from Ankara this morning to this event, and the traffic here is really uncontrollable, so we have to come early. And first of all, I would like to take this opportunity to really thank the colleagues from the Columbia University and the global centers here for organizing this event. As we all know, this is really difficult for all of us to organize such kind of event aiming the global pandemic. And it is because of this difficulty that even make today's event more precious. So thank you all. And during the I have been here in Turkey for almost 7 months, and I feel I'm really blessed. Why? Because after posting out from Taiwan to this country, I still get to work and live in a well, comparatively, well, good way of life, and this place has a wonderful healthcare system, and also has better medical environment, and have better anti-pandemic response more than other countries in the world. And most of all, more importantly, doesn't really keep what it has to itself, and it offers the medical services to all the nearly 4 million or more than 4 million forced migrants inside the country. So I really feel Turkey should take a pride of this achievement in humanitarian and also public health achievements, although it's always often underrated. During the past few months, I really had a chance to talk to many officials and also the IAGOs and NGOs in this country, and also the member parliaments in Turkey. And I was surprised by how well Turkey has worked with these IGOs and NGOs to take care of all these refugees or forced migrants. So I once again feel blessed here that we can also do something with Turkish government and also the NGOs. Providing international humanitarian aid is an integral part of Taiwan's foreign policy, and Taiwan ICDF acts as a main stakeholder in this regard. So its support for REACH project here is a good example. My previous post was in Jordan, where we collect our foreign mission and ICDF have collaborated on quite a few international humanitarian projects in the region, and of course with the cooperation and collaboration with INGOs and also the local government. Here in Turkey, Taiwan also plays an important part in the humanitarian realm. For example, Taiwan built a school and a multi-functional center in Hatay. That center called Taiwan Rehan Center for World Citizens, and the architect or the CEO of that special center, Dr. Chu, is here. He may share some experience and his ideas about what it functions later on. And why we did this in Hatay is to promote or help the empowerment, to boost the education empowerment and the social cohesion there. Last month, we also co-worked with the Turkish Red Crescent to donate 40 tons of rice. They are from Taiwan, to help those in need in Gaziantep. Meanwhile, we are still looking to double down on efforts to do more in multi-stakeholder partnership. Moreover, the unselfish love from Taiwan is not limited to the government. Taiwan's largest NGO, the Tzu Chi Foundation, set up a school in Istanbul accommodating 3,000 refugee students. In fact, the Tzu Chi Foundation is a Buddhist non-profit organization, but it presents a contribution in Turkey and every corner of the world, prove that humanity transcends all boundaries, be it religion, race, or national boundary. Taiwan and Turkey share many common values and have a huge potential for cooperation in different fields. However, in the face of ongoing public health crisis, there is a pressing need for international cooperation in healthcare and in humanitarian assistance. Considering that the REACH project was just born in a bad but right time, as it aims to improve health literacy of refugee youth and the disadvantaged in Turkey through digital technologies. And I'm confident that the mobile application, which is the brainchild of the REACH project, will be quite helpful in our collective fight against the pandemic. It's great to see many officials, scholars, health professionals, journalists, and young people here today. Your participation and comment will certainly help perfect in this project. On behalf of Taiwanese government, we are proud and also feel honored to support this project, and we hope that it will make a positive impact on many people's lives in Turkey and region. And I hope the panel and exhibition are a great success. Thank you all for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you all. As our last speaker, we will hear from Timothy Hisyang, who is the Secretary General of the Taiwan International Cooperation and Development Fund. He is unable to join us today, unfortunately, but he sent a recorded message, and let's watch it now.
Distinguished speakers, dear colleagues and friends, good afternoon. On behalf of the International Cooperation and Development Fund, it is a great honor for me to deliver opening remarks at this event. Although I cannot attend this important event in person due to the pandemic, allow me to extend our sincere greetings to all of you. I would like to thank the Center for Sustainable Development of Columbia University and all the local partners for your efforts in assisting the REACH project. The Taiwan ICDF is the professional foreign aid agency of Taiwan. We have cooperated with CSD to implement the REACH project since 2019, and the project is currently in its second phase. In this phase, we have worked with refugees and local youth to learn their feedback on the REACH Health application. By promoting this app, we aim to support more refugees and locals in Turkey to improve health literacy and access to health information and health care. When we first started this project back in 2019, there was no COVID-19 pandemic. But since the pandemic emerged, the significance of this project has become increasingly evident. The public health system is more vulnerable than ever, and the people need correct information and knowledge to fight COVID-19. We trust this app will be a reliable platform to serve such purposes, where people can learn more about different health topics and know where to seek medical help or health care. Today's discussion among experts and young people will offer valuable lessons for the REACH projects. In addition, the following photo exhibition tells the story of the challenges faced by the refugee community in Turkey. I hope it will inspire all of us to move forward and strive for a cohesive and inclusive society. The COVID-19 pandemic has put us through an unprecedented ordeal, but I believe where the worst of humanity exists, so does the best of it. We will continue standing with our partners of the international community and work together with a shared future. I'd like to close my remarks by wishing this event a great success. Thank you.
Thank you to all of the speakers. Now we are moving to our panel discussion, and I would like to have the panelists over here. Professor Selma Karabey from the Department of Public Health at Istanbul University. Dr. Özge Karadağ from the Center for Sustainable Development at Earth Institute at Columbia University. İnanç Sümbüloğlu from Breeze Association, one of our partner organizations. And Yamama Shahid, who is a student in the Department of Business Administration at Istanbul University and also a researcher of the REACH project. Please come to the desk right now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Very nice to see all of you here. The first meeting of REACH project, the first stakeholder meeting, was held just 2 years ago, and 2 years passed so quickly, and now we can see the visible results, visible outputs of REACH project. I'm so happy for that. As Sedan announced my name, I'm a public health academician from Istanbul University, and my main interesting areas are health promotion, health inequalities, and public health advocacy. And so this wonderful REACH project covers all of my interesting areas, actually. And so I feel myself so happy to realize most of my purposes in my academic career. And now, as a first speaker, I would like to invite Özge Karadağ here, but I will invite the other speakers later, because otherwise they cannot see the slides of Özge. But at the end of this session, during the QA session, I will invite the other speakers around table, and so you can ask and you can talk about your opinions, okay? And now I would like to say some short thing about Özge. Özge Karadağ is a medical doctor from same university of mine, and then she became a public health doctorate. Now she is working a associate professor, senior researcher in Center for Sustainable Development in Columbia University. Özge will share some findings of REACH project research. Now, floor is yours, Özge. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Karabey. I think I need the, okay. Thank you and welcome to our event. I just would like to give you some brief information about the project itself, and then I will be presenting some of our findings from our mixed method study that we conducted last year. So as you all know, many young refugees in urban areas face barriers in accessing youth-friendly health information and healthcare. Different cultural norms, languages, laws, and stigma pose additional challenges. And there's a need to implement more innovative, youth-friendly, and widely used solutions to address the health education and healthcare needs of young people, including refugee youth and disadvantaged local youth. So as the project team, we believe that health and well-being of migrants and refugees are not only important for migrants and refugees themselves, but also important for the health and well-being of host societies, human and financial resources of host countries, and building and maintaining peace in those countries that host refugee and migrant populations. And we also believe that community participation or engagement or involvement is very important because we need to involve disadvantaged, marginalized, stigmatized groups or minorities in planning, implementation, and evaluation of policies and practices. It's very critical to include those populations because they can identify solutions, help ensure compliance, and tailor responses to meet the diverse needs of different populations. So in the REACH project, we try to bridge the gap in health literacy and healthcare access among refugee and disadvantaged local youth by using digital technologies. And while doing this, we are trying to use a community-based participatory action research approach. So, supported by Taiwan ICDF, the REACH project in Turkey is implemented with the collaboration of the Center for Sustainable Development of Columbia University, Columbia Global Centers Istanbul, Istanbul University, BIRIZ Association, Community Volunteers Foundation, as we know them, TOG, and Youth Approaches to Health Association, SGYD. And with a strong youth and adult partnership, the initiative includes stakeholder meetings, mixed methods.
Afghans and other people from different countries speaking non-Arabic languages, how they learn the findings or information in this application. And yeah, these are my questions.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Okay, thank you. Jump to, yeah, Özge, please, you can reply.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for your valuable comments and questions. So the project aims to, work with. First of all, why we use the term refugee? Actually, most of the people, most of the forced migrants in Turkey are under the temporary protection regime, and we know that they are not refugees in legal terms. But why we chose this term is because this project is a regional initiative, and we are an international team, and we wanted to use a general term that everyone can understand. That's why, although we know the legal status is different for many migrants in Turkey and in other countries as well, in international context, we just wanted to call all of them refugees, and we sometimes call them forced migrants. But our main target is migrants who came to Turkey, migrant youth who came to Turkey in forced migration, let's say, terms. The thing is, since the initiative is in Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan, we first wanted to focus on Arabic-speaking migrant youth because they are the mostly populated migrant people. So you are very right that there are other groups speaking other languages, and there are irregular migrants who have more barriers than regular ones. So we will actually give more information about the application in the second panel if you will have time and if you can attend. We will give you more detailed information about the application, but I can just say that it's now in Turkish, English, and Arabic. But we hope that in time we will add other languages. So you are very right that we need to be more inclusive and we need to cover all migrants with different status. Thank you.
And Özge, what about the dissemination of
the application? We'll actually be discussing all that in the second panel.
Okay. And so I think you will stay at the second part and we'll have opportunity to discuss. Okay. Is there any other comments or questions from you? Please.
One of the earlier presentations, there was a slide about the education level, a number of years youth had when you interviewed with them. And I found the numbers to be quite high and positive. And I was wondering, it's been maybe 2 years since you started working, if the more they stay in Turkey, will these numbers go down, meaning years of education or uninterrupted education? And how would that affect the access to healthcare and the apps and the applicability of the app to the youth when years in school go down?
I'm making a general assumption.
Thank you. I mean, of course, monitoring the same population or the study group would be very good and useful. But we know from migration research that as time passes and as migrants adapt or let's say get used to living in the host country, and of course the younger generation who have more schooling, who have better language skills, then access to information, access to care, and other services improve. So we, of course, expect as the project team that in time, both access to information and access to healthcare should be better for refugees, because first, of course, the adult population will have more knowledge about the system itself, and their language skills will also increase. Also, the healthcare system is also evolving, so it also gets better, it also gets more migrant friendly in time. And of course, with the new generation, the younger kids and youth, it will be easier for them to use the services, hopefully.
Okay, thank you, Özge. Yes, please.
Hello, my name is Turkim Salıcı, and I'm representing the Secretariat of Refugee Council of Turkey. And Refugee Council of Turkey is based in Ankara and has members from different civil society organizations that are working in forced migration throughout Turkey. So my question is actually from the first panel. In your research, are there any findings about the hesitation to get vaccinated among refugees? Because to our knowledge, this is one of the main problems. And were there any findings on this? And as a follow-up question, there was a slide about the policymakers were doing some recommendations on your research, or I didn't get that part exactly. But were there any discussion with the policy makers on how to get over these hesitations towards public or including refugees to get over, to overcome these hesitations to get vaccinated? Because this is not about only Turkish citizens. So this should be this is a public health problem. So this should include all that are living in this country. So were there any findings on this? Thank you so much for inviting us.
Thank you. I mean, this is a very important question, but unfortunately, the vaccine was not available when we were collecting data. So we could only assess their knowledge on diagnostic tests and treatment options and their access to COVID-related services. So the vaccine was not available in that time. So we don't have any data on that. I mean, in our study, we don't have it. But based on other studies that I read in recent days, there is a huge problem with vaccine hesitancy, not just among Turkish people or citizens, but also among migrant populations. And you're right, I mean, the health authorities need to work more to increase the vaccine coverage and to fight the, misconceptions, let's say, about the vaccines. Thank you. Sorry, we were a bit early in data collection, but hopefully, actually, I mean, in our next phase, we will be assessing the impact of the application. So maybe in that second phase research in the coming months, we can add questions about the vaccine, and that can give us some clue. Thank you.
And also we can some part about the vaccine hesitation into the app.
That's right. We can also add like health promotion messages and to promote the vaccine usage in our application, because we will have messages for the users. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Good afternoon.
In Istanbul, good afternoon.
Okay, I'm Sahar Makande from Jordan, Jordanian University, part of the team. Actually, my question could be addressed to all of you, but I would like very much to hear your perspective. Comparing with what's being discussed, I mean, in Jordan, it's very clear that refugees, young refugees, are so much critical about the information, to what extent that they can trust. And how would you know that you can trust this type of information without being help? The other issue is the stigma and stereotype. I mean, we've had gender issue as well, in terms of approaching health and seeking for attention that is sensitive.
Yes, that can be.
So, from your perspective, how we could get over this challenge? From your perspective and also.
Thank you. Will you translate, or actually, Dr. Sahar, you could directly ask in Arabic, but that could be. Anyway, I'll just translate. Diyor ki Doktor Sahar, burada geldikten sonra bir bilginin güvenilir olduğunu nasıl anlıyorsunuz ya da hangi bilgiye güveniyorsunuz, hangisine güvenmiyorsunuz sağlıkla ilgili? Yani güvenilir olduğuna nasıl karar veriyorsunuz? Okuduğunuz bir şeyin. Bir onu soruyor, sağlıkla ilgili ve hizmetlerle ilgili. İkinci sorusu da damgalama ve ayrımcılıkla ilgili. O konuda deneyim ve bunu nasıl yapabiliriz diye de sordu galiba, değil mi?
Gender issue aslında. Hani sensitif soruları nasıl sordunuz, nasıl üstesinden geldiniz sorarken diye sordu, değil mi?
Evet. Bir önce istersen ilk soruya
Evet, yavaş.
bilgilerin güvenilir olup olmaması ile ilgili.
Güvenli yer bilmek için aslında sağlık bir bilgi almak için internetten aslında çok güven, yani hep %100 güven değil, çünkü ben bilmiyorum bu site de doğru mu, doğru değil mi, o yüzden tam emin olamıyorum. Tabii ki eğer ki tamam ben şimdi yani mesela e-nabız gibi bir program uygulama var Türkiye'de, ama o Türkçe bilen olanlar için mesela bu güvenli bir mesela bilgi alabilirim. Ama her şey içinde yokken onun içinde alabilirim, hastaneler ilgili falan filan, ama o Türkçe öğrendiğimden sonra artık kullanıyorum. Ama mesela internetten çok güven değil bence de, yani her yerde güven değil. Eğer ki bahsedeceğiz, hastaneler, merkezler aslında var, yani biliyorsunuz tabii ki Arap merkezler, sağlık merkezler var. Onlar hepsini güvenli değil, çünkü yani Arapça konuşuyorlar, onlarla anlaşabiliriz, ama bazılar çünkü gerçek bir sertifikalar falan yok. Tabii ki güvenlerde de var, ama çok sorman lazım. Ama devlet hastane ya da özel Türk hastaneler de tabii ki güvenli, ama hep yeterli Türkçe konuşmaya gitmek için biraz zor oluyor. O yüzden bu birinci soru için.
Okay. She says that, I mean, state hospitals, state-owned websites and private Turkish hospitals are considered trustable and safe, but the problem is, again, if you don't know Turkish, then it's difficult to get high quality standard care. She says that although there are Arabic speaking healthcare workers in some centers, not owned by the state or private sector, some of them are not registered in the healthcare system. So those unregistered centers are not really trustable because they don't have the certificate to provide healthcare. That's why she says, although there are Arabic-speaking physicians and nurses there, that's not very trustable. Bir şey unuttun mu? Second question, can you actually ask the question directly in Arabic? Pardon, mikrofonu.
السؤال الثاني انه بالنسبه لتكون الست يعني شرط او ضمن كثير ظهرت في بالنتائج عندنا انه في حساسيه وفي امور ما بيحكوا فيها الشباب
Yani şey, siz başka soru almaya
فكيف احنا بنقدر نتجاوز؟ يعني كيف بنقدر انه نمسح المجال يكون في هناك
Arapça da konuşabilirim. Türkçe mi? Şey sordu, biz
Ay sen
zaten...
cevabı ver direkt.
Ha, biz zaten uygulamada şey koyduk, isim falan koymayacağız diye. Çünkü öyle bir şey var. Çünkü bazıları her şey anlatmıyor. Yani mesela bazı kızlar özel şeyler anlatmıyor ya da erkekler aynı şekilde. O yüzden biz adı falan bu uygulamada yok, olmayacak. Sadece yaş yazıyorlar ve ne isterler belgeler alabilirler. Zaten onlar çünkü onun belgeler yazmayacaklar. O yüzden daha güvenli bir hissedecekler. Yani mesela bir de şey var. Eğer ki uygulama girdim ve hangi bir şey araştırdım. Mesela sadece bir çocuk kullanıyor. Onun mesela eğer ki onun annesinden, telefonundan araştıracak uygulamada. Mesela bir şey araştırdım. Çıktığım zaman başka birine uygulama yani aynı telefondan uygulama girdiği zaman o zaten görmeyecek önceki ne araştırdı falan filan. Bu nokta vardı yani.
Okay, so she says that in the REACH application, we don't ask for any personally identifiable information. So there are no, I mean, we don't ask about the user's name or phone number or other personal information. It's just the age and gender that they enter. And also she says that if the phone is used by multiple people, then it's still safe because if a person, if a user person search for certain terms and then the phone is used by another user, then since there is no search history in the application, the second user will not be able to see the terms that the first user searched for. That's why the application is safe in terms of private information or personal information, let's say. I hope this was... Yes, you can speak. Actually, we're just close to the coffee break.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question, a quick question to my colleague.
İnanç.
İnanç.
Yeah. So can you address, sorry, I'm not
It's a big, I think it's a big question now. Therapeutic, feeling togetherness is very therapeutic for the young people, I think, in the focus group. So feeling togetherness and creating new things and working together and feel togetherness actually, maybe, can be therapeutic.
So because I'm listening to others and I feel like they are ventilating in practice.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a unique experience that they are telling
Yes. Yeah. You're right.
Exactly. Okay, now time is for coffee break, and we will have 30 minutes for that. And if you wish, please go on your talk to presenters to share your ideas. Thank you for being here with us.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your coffee. We are starting to our second panel, and we will be joined by Assistant Professor Yanis Penamur from the Center for Sustainable Development at Earth Institute at Columbia University, Dr. Özge Karadağ from the Center for Sustainable Development at Earth Institute at Columbia University, Damla Ceyhan, student in the Department of Public Health at Istanbul University, Emin Ayar from NIDA Labs, which is the organization taking care of the REACH app, and Yasmina Peker from our project partner, the Community Volunteers Foundation talk. And finally, we will have Canan Demir from another partner organization, the Youth Approach to Health Association. Now I give the floor to Yanis, who will moderate this panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. Thank you so much for coming back for the second part of our event. We have decided that we were going to design this event like we designed our project. So the first phase of our project was to try to understand what exactly were the reasons why refugees, migrants, and young people were not accessing healthcare in Turkey, even though it is free for everyone who is registered. And so now in the second part of this event, we are actually going to show you how we have designed the app, what the app looks like, and what are the plans for dissemination, which were some of the questions that we had. So to take a quick step back, there are multiple ways that we could have gone on with this project when we started it 2 years ago. The first one, which was the wrong one, was to say, we are Columbia University, we are experts in refugee health, we are experts in the situation, the way that the refugees are experiencing issues accessing health, and so we are going to move directly to the development of an application that we think is the best possible application that they will be using. We will put all of the information that we think is useful, and we will make it very, very complex, because it needs to incorporate everything that we think anybody will be using when they have issues accessing healthcare. And in fact, that, of course, would be the wrong way to do it. So we decided to take a bottom-up approach, which is the way that we presented it in the first part of this seminar. We wanted it to be very participative, understand through dialogue what are the issues that the youth and the refugees are experiencing, so that we can come up together with the solution. And so in the first part of this seminar, you have seen what some of these problems are. Problem of language, not being able to understand what are the services that you have access to, even though they are for free, problems of stigma. And so we have also shown you how we have worked with the communities, with the refugees, with the local youth, in order to develop the content. And so now it is my pleasure to welcome Özge Karadağ again, and she will show you exactly what is the content of the app that we are developing and that we have developed in partnership with youth. Thank you.
Okay, sorry for the delay. So I will try to give you some information about the REACH4Health application. So based on findings of our mixed methods study and based on local needs and also based on expert opinions that we learned during our stakeholders meetings and small group work in that meeting. REACH has been working with refugee and local youth, software developers, academia, local health authorities, UN organizations and NGOs to develop a multilingual mHealth application to increase health literacy and improve healthcare access. I think this is different than many of the applications who actually diagnose health problems or are more related to the treatment of health problems. Our app is more focused on increasing health literacy and health promotion and access to healthcare rather than diagnosing and treating health problems. So that's, I think, a difference. So what we did was, I mean, after the field study and after the stakeholders meetings, we started to organize a series of app development workshops with youth. We had mixed groups of refugee and local youth. And we had, I think, around 8 or 9 workshops. We first started with in-person workshops and then needed to continue with online workshops. But we had a very lively group of young people with different backgrounds. Some were medical students, some were engineering students, some were psychology, nutrition, and dietetics students. Some were social care students. So we had a diverse group of young people contributing to the app development. What we did was we organized these series of applications and in some of the meetings, in some of the workshops, health professionals also joined those workshops, app developers joined those workshops, and we tried to understand what young people would like to see in that app. So after those, we actually recruited 6 young people just for the content development itself. So apart from these workshops, 6 young people actively worked on content development, mapping of services, hotlines, and other applications used in Turkey. So the key app features and content that were recommended by youth during the workshops were as follows. So young people, they recommended the app to be freely available. They said that low battery consumption is important, low memory consumption is important. The ability for a majority of content to be available offline is important because not everyone has continuous internet access. Option to rate or give feedback about health services was recommended. The ability to collect age and gender data of users without collecting personally identifiable information was recommended. And to be able to give search statistics to analyze keyword search trends and healthcare needs to inform policymakers was recommended. And actually, this is not only an application, but we also want this content to be available on the project website, so that people without phones can still access the content. Young people, again, recommended the content to be gender neutral and stigma-free. They recommended an emergency button for emergency cases to be directed to relevant services. And again, as we discussed in the first panel, no search history is available for app users for safety purposes. And then again, alert, event notification, or simple reminder feature was recommended. Information about health rights and laws concerning refugee migrant populations, healthy life skills for young people, sexual and reproductive health topics, healthy nutrition, maternal and child care, youth mental health issues, occupational health and environmental health were also recommended topics by the youth. So they wanted to see reliable health information websites, youth health migration related hotlines, other mobile applications, and they again said that frequently asked questions section could be useful. And then again, meet the expert, ask a question section was recommended. And for the health service providers, geolocation, days and hours of operation of health services, type of provider, and contact information was among the recommendations. So the REACH4Health application is actually available, will be available in 3 languages for the moment, Turkish, Arabic and English in Turkey, but in Jordan and Lebanon it will be available in Arabic and English. There will be different sections, including health system, healthy lifestyle, physical health, mental health, social health, environmental health, and we don't see it here, but COVID-19 is another section that we added after the pandemic. So our target group is youth for Turkey, is youth in Turkey with special emphasis on refugee migrant youth and disadvantaged local youth, but actually most of the content can also be useful for other age groups as well. So it will be available in Android and iOS formats. It will be freely available, and most features will work offline. So there won't be any search history. The app will include health information and info about services, and users will be able to give feedback about the services that they use. The users will also be able to contact trained peer counselors, young peer counselors for further support. And as I said before, app content will also be available on a web-based platform for easier access. So when we look at the content, as I just mentioned, there will be information available about the healthcare system in Turkey and health-related laws, rights, and health insurance system, as well as healthy lifestyle behaviors and health promotion, because we think this is very important for young people. We also think environmental health is an important component, and as far as we know, there's no other application that includes information on environmental health. So we did map many health and counseling services, as well as hotlines and other mobile apps. So what we learned from this process until now is that using community-based approaches and co-design approaches and engaging refugee and local youth in the process of assessing needs and developing mHealth technologies can help to increase the success rate of youth health promotion interventions. And it's important that the interventions respond to the needs of people, be evidence-based and culturally appropriate. And also it's important if the target group is youth, then youth-friendly characteristics is important. And we believe phone applications developed for this purpose can facilitate the access of young people to reliable information and services, as well as increase their awareness on health promoting behaviors. And with mHealth applications, it's not only raising awareness about individual health issues, but we also believe that we can increase awareness of young people on environmental issues such as climate change, environmental pollution, healthy cities, healthy working places, and other environmental issues. So our ultimate aim actually is to assess this app's effectiveness to contribute to the limited evidence base on using digital health technologies for youth health promotion. And by analyzing data related to the health issues and services frequently sought by young people, we hope that we can monitor the changing trends in their health needs, as well as receive feedback about the services that they use so that we can inform the policymakers. And we hope that we can also inform the service providers so that the quality of services can be increased. So as a last word, I can say that in case of pandemics like the current one or other future disaster situations, digital health interventions can be of great benefit in accessing info and services. And these digital tools are especially important for more disadvantaged population groups, such as refugees, disadvantaged youth, local youth, women, persons living with disabilities, and many stigmatized, marginalized groups. And it's also important to leave no one behind. So these are our websites and email, contact email, and you will be able to find more information about the application itself, as well as the project activities by visiting these websites. Thank you.
Thank you, Özge. So now hopefully you have a little bit more of an understanding of what the app will actually provide in the Turkish context. Now I would like to invite our colleague Emin from Neyla Labs. Neither Özge or I are app developers, and we were extremely fortunate to be paired with Emin and his team from Turkey to allow us to develop the app, as you will be able to download it soon on the app stores. So Emin.
Thank you. Thank you, first of all, to everyone that is being here now. And also special thanks to Dr. Yanis and Dr. Özge for inviting me to here. As probably I am the only tech person in this room. So I find it so much valuable to be in this kind of communities and events to explain more about what is behind the scenes. So again, thanks to everyone. So let me introduce myself a little bit, and then the software development process of the REACH4Health application. So I'm Emin. I'm the founder of the Neyla Labs. It's a software development agency. The headquarters is based on Samsun, and we have an also office at Istanbul. So we are developing technology solutions from zero to the final product. And this is how we started working with Dr. Özge and Dr. Yanis on the REACH project. So I feel myself blessed actually to work on this kind of projects. As I am in the technology industry, it is so much more like being a robot. So every day we are coding, everyday technology, but it feels so much valuable and important to me to work on also humanitarian projects like this. So that's very valuable to me. And also, I need to also speak a little bit about the problem. So as everyone talked about the problem, but we know that the refugees has a problem on accessing to healthcare informations and healthcare systems. So the app is basically aiming to decrease the rate of, this problem. And I believe that when we go live, while going live, when our app is published, it will solve really this problem. Another problem is, of course, the language barrier, and this is a problem that we can't avoid. So every people is facing this. Even when I visit some other country, I am facing this problem as well as a tourist. And from seeing the refugees' perspective, this should be a crucial problem, and I believe that this kind of technological approaches and solutions will help this community to overcome this kind of problems. Now let's talk more about the boring part, the process. As Dr. Özge explained very well, so I will just give some briefly information about that. So like how there is methodologies in the scientific researches, also there is methodologies in the software development. So as there is user studies, case studies that is made before going to a software development team. So when the project or a problem comes to us, we are first analyzing it, and then we are doing some UX researches on that to understand what is the real problem of the users. But luckily, actually, the REACH team had already did it when they come to us. So it was a really great project that has a really good UX work made on it. And then the design team is actually start working on designing the user interface. The user interface is the key point for the especially software-based products, because it is the thing that end user sees. So it is so important. If you give someone to an app that is look very bad, I'm pretty sure, and I can prove it with the numbers, they won't use it, and so we are calling it as bounce rate, but the bounce rates will be so higher. But if you give them something really nice and something really easy to use, they will start to use it, and they will be sticky on the application, which we are aiming of this actually on the REACH application. So we designed the user interface, and then the development team started working on the project. So basically the project has, two phases. On the first phase, we developed the backend part of the application, which you can think as like a brain of the project. So it includes the databases, it includes the informations related, it includes the content. And on the other hand, we developed the front end part, which you can see the output of the application. So when you are using the application on your devices, we are calling it as the front end part of the application, because you are just interacting with the application, and it gives you an output, but you don't know what actually it is doing on behind the scenes. And of course, there is no project ending for the software projects. So we are completing, we are sending, and then we are receiving user feedbacks, and then we are going into iteration again. So this goes and goes and goes, and at one day then Dr. Özge is saying us, okay, so that's enough for us. And then we are ready. That's not the end of the story actually. That's just the end of a phase maybe. So we are getting ready for the version 1, and of course after going live, I believe that there will be many other user feedbacks that will affect the future of the application, that will affect the decisions on the features that we're gonna add to the application. So this is the software development process of the REACH application. And actually, that's all about iTalk. But when I find some chance, I see it as a responsibility for myself to give some information to people about my expertise. And at the first panel, we had a question like that: how we will know that we can trust health information on the internet or on the applications. So one thing I can assure you that on the mobile applications, especially if it is if it includes the health topics, they are strictly being controlled by the Google Play and the App Store. So as an end user, I am not a doctor or anything, but as an end user and as a software developer that I am publishing many applications during a month, a year, I can assure that if there is an application on the App Store or Google Play, you can trust it more than web, because there is almost no control on the web. Anyone can put a title on themselves like, okay, I'm Dr. Emin Ayar, so I have a diploma from blah blah university, etc. And I can include some maybe content, copycatted content at website, and maybe I can put there some link or button to scam the end users and get their monies, because the health is not a toy or health is not a joke. When people is desperate about their illnesses, they are being so much touchable, so they can do anything, and this is the one of the most used methods for the scammers to get money from these people. So I can assure that be careful about be careful about reading health content on the web, but on the app side it is more controlled, and actually it is strictly controlled. Recently we published an application for UNFPA, and it also included some health information, but the App Store asked us, okay, so you have some health information there, can you give us some proof that these are being written by the physician or by a doctor or by an academician. Then we created some documents and make them signed by a physician and then sent, and they then approved. So this is one thing, and the other one I already told, the avoiding scams. This is so much important. The best way is visiting a physical hospital or a health institution, of course, to getting some information. Otherwise, I can assure that never trust on anyone at the web that's selling some kind of health content. So this is the other things. Yeah, that's all. And as I'm the panelist here, actually I have a question. Yeah, I have a comment, not a question. But I believe that our application is doing very good now, and we have a strong filtering option at the health institutions part. But I strongly believe that we need to have some kind of language option there. For example, Ms. Yamama told that, I don't know where to find Arabic-speaking doctors. Maybe we can have an option like that, or maybe we can list even the doctors who can speak that languages on the application, and I believe that will also really be helpful for the community. Yes, that's all. Thank you so much. Please.
I have a proposal. I don't know if you have a link to the HUD project. It would be much easier for the users to get involved in. Oh, sorry.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Yeşim Yasin from Acıbadem University. I'm a former student of Selma Hoca. Pride student of Selma Hoca. I have a proposal. Maybe you should have a direct link to Sıhhat project. Sıhhat project is running more than 180 migrant health clinics for Arabic-speaking populations in Turkey. They are very, how can I say, there are more than 180 migrant health clinics in more than 50 different cities where, you know, migrant populations densely living. So reaching right information, reaching the, you know, Arabic-speaking health professionals would be an option for your project as well. I mean, reliable information, reliable healthcare personnel and things like this. That's what I have in mind. Thank you.
Just give a short answer. So actually, we did map all the migrant health centers. So they do exist in the application right now. And we are in contact with the Ministry of Health, the Migrant Health Department. And we hope that migrant health centers will also be, I mean, not like formal official partners, but at least we will make sure that they also know about the application because they can then inform their users. So thank you so much. I mean, that I think is very important to be, you know, to create that link with the Ministry of Health and its centers. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Emin. So I was actually going to say, one of the comments that Emin was making is that after the app is developed and launched, it will keep going and going and going. And I would like to invite you all, when the app is available, to download it, stay in touch, give your feedback, just like you did, and say, oh, I'm noticing that this is not available. It would make sense to have A, B, C, D, and then we will make the most, discussing with the youth to make sure that it's actually useful and to try to incorporate that at a later stage of the app. Emin was also talking about the info you can trust, and I will tell you maybe something that Özge did not talk about is the countless number of hours that we put into getting every page right, the information for every content, making sure that it's up to date, that it's understandable, that it's in a language that, you know, lay people can understand without getting confused, and then translating it into Arabic and into Turkish, and that was obviously a huge part of the process. And we are 100% confident that all the information that is in this app is accurate. Another point that Emin was making was about the bounce rate. Is that what you call it? The bounce rate when people download it, then they don't use it. Or maybe I misunderstood. And so obviously one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that once people download it, they will keep using. And one part to do that, to make sure that they download and they use it, is actually this idea of co-developing with youth, that the product is already designed by youth for youth to make sure that once we have their attention, we're not going to lose it. So my next speaker, Damla Ceyhan, will tell us about how we have involved young people, young local Turkish and young refugees, in making sure that all the voices are heard. Damla.
Hi, it's really good to be here, and I'm so excited. Today I'm here as a, okay, it's not, okay. I'm here as a representative of youth group in REACH. So I will talk about how we did in REACH and what is our role, and in whole process also for the app development. First of all, I would like to want to start with obviously young people are REACH's target group, but actually within the 2 years, young people are more than the target group in REACH. So we are researcher in REACH. We've guided to hold the process, hold the app development, and we are also a team member, stakeholder partners, and we also created content for app development, and I hope we will be a peer consultant in the app also. So from day one, young people participate in all project-related activities. Since the first meeting, I still remember this, and we had project planning meetings, and we were photographers in Photo Voice Study. You also heard from the previous speakers, and we have interviewers, so we were interviewers, and we are panelists as today, and we had surveys, and we researchers, and app development process has been one of the most actively working process in youth, and it will go on like this, I hope. When we talk about REACH4Health app, we can easily say that REACH4Health app has been developed with the great contribution of youth for youth, as Yanis also said, by youth for youth. And in 2019, we started our field research, and in every stage of field research, we asked young people for their opinions, what kind of app they want to use, what kind of app they prefer to use, and what kind of app they will be helpful actually. And based on findings, and we had an app, and we had an actually beta version as a prototype. I think I will use the correct term for this. I mean, but when we have the beta version, and we have surveys, and we learned their thoughts on our app, and then as also Dr. Özge mentioned about our workshop, we had monthly workshops, and we actually make sure we are on the right track. Our app is youth-friendly, our app is understandable, because when we're talking about the health information, some terms, language can be comprehensive and young people cannot understand maybe. So we make sure actually, and we discussed from colors, from language to content, and I think it's very helpful, and they gave really great insights to app development. And also we worked as content developers for app with the mentorship of senior researchers of REACH, and I think this is also a great opportunity to have as a young person, because app development, I really enjoyed it, because you create something and it will be beneficial for youth, and we all felt that, and it's really a great experience. And then when we have, I think we will have soon our app final version of app, we will have also surveys, and we will have the users' feedbacks and so on. So we are all connected with youth within the process. In here, actually, I would like to emphasize of the importance of strong youth-adult partnership, because I believe without a strong youth-adult partnership, it won't be the same. I believe REACH is one of a good example of strong youth-adult partnership, because we were all here, and we were in decision making, and we are all informed about the process, because as a young person you can easily be a volunteer in a NGO, and you can easily contribute a project, but the problem is your responsibility and your what is our role, what is your place in the table. Because business as usual, unfortunately, it's like, for example, Colombia could have been said, okay, we know our problems and we thought of something about this. So now, I don't know, you can print out these papers and we can ask the opinion. I think, but it's not the same, and it doesn't work, I think. So it's important to have a strong partnership, and every member should be valuable and should have been listened. So we felt in REACH this, and I think it's a great example to have. And actually, one step further, I also would like to mention about our youth-led project. It's a peer counselors project for REACH4Health App. We applied for this project as a youth member of REACH, and to make REACH4Health App better, actually. And our aim was finding the peer counselors to work and engage with REACH4Health App, and give them training and supervision, and and then engage them with REACH4Health App. So thereby, young people had training, mentorship, and experience in this field, and app users can ask health-related questions anonymously to their peers and get answers anonymously, obviously. And also researchers and users can get to know youth-related health problems. And the other themes that I want to emphasize the importance is working with mixed group, because in REACH we had a great chance to work with mixed groups, working together, creating together, and I believe we created an environment for young people of this city to share, discuss, and contribute to solve the common problems that young people faced. We sit around the table for a purpose and create something. And also, I experienced this friendship is a peace builder, and I think peace is one of our world's problem. And I believe friendship between young people, different young people groups, can be a great tool to have. And I think we create a long-lasting friendship in REACH group. And I feel that youth has already embraced REACH4Health App, because we all know about the app, we all know about the process, what we did, and all the efforts. So I felt that we already have we can easily disseminate. I believe this. And there are some quotes from young people in REACH. Before our meeting, I asked them to share their opinions to being a part of REACH, and I can read some of them. For example, in second one, thanks to the projects, I have a great desire to learn Turkish better because I have experience, but my language was not enough to express my opinion. And the other is, thanks to the project, I met very motivating and inspiring people, and they gave me the desire to improve myself more. I agree with them, all of them actually, and it's super motivational to me to keep going on and make this app, make this maybe world better. And in the last, I would like to say REACH became a youth network. Obviously REACH aims increasing health literacy, health access amongst young people in REACH, young people in Turkey, but I think it gets something bigger than this aim. So we became a youth network, we became a supportive network, and just in Turkey we worked with approximately 100 young people, and we reached more than 800 young people in Turkey. So I will conclude here with say I feel very lucky to have this great network in this room and outside of the room. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Damla, for the great presentation and for all the hard work put in our project for the last 2 years. You say you are lucky, we are lucky. We are lucky to have you, but we are also lucky to have had the participation of the network of the 100+ youth that have really made REACH, taken it to the next level. What the original idea was, the original founder, to what it will become when it is launched in 3 weeks, and hopefully in the years to come with all of the additional ideas and input that we will get through the next phase. It will serve no purpose if we have developed the most incredible tool and then people don't download it, if people don't know about it, if people don't hear about it. And so the dissemination part will be as important as the development part. And so to tell us about that, I want to first invite Yasmin Pekar from the Community Volunteer Group, TOG, to tell us a few words about plans for dissemination.
Hello. Okay, it works. I came with a little paper because I will talk a little bit about numbers, and I wanted to make sure. Thank you again for letting me speak. Maybe some of you who are familiar with Turkish civil society context, I has already information about Community Volunteers Foundation. Since 19 years, always accumulating more and more youth. Actually, Community Volunteers Foundation became a very spread out network of youth, mainly in the universities, as clubs, as creating their own youth centers, and our mission is actually supporting their ideas to integrate them more in civil society and to understand what they think, what is more needed, and what kind of social project it should be done. And of course, migration is one of the topics, but not only. The youth itself generally decides what kind of social projects they want to integrate to their own environment and their own local needs. In this period, when this project just started, we understood, of course, what digitalization means and what it means for the youth, how accessing information and connecting with each other, although in different local environments, is important. And of course, there is the reality of pandemic. So because of that, I wrote the paper. We saw that in 2019, we had 2,746,64 hours of voluntary work, and reached to 873 people. However, when the pandemic came, and it was 1 year later, the numbers dropped drastically. It became 1,638,000 hours of voluntary work and reaching to 580,000 people. For us, it actually showed more the importance of digitalization itself and how connecting people is more now possible, especially when it comes to health, to be in a digital world. In this sense, we actually are very eager to work on the surveys, work on the feedback process, but also in terms of the dissemination. We hope to instrumentalize 112 university clubs to inform them about the app, to lead them to use the app, and also to spread the word for it. We also hope that this communication with other people to disseminate the information and use of the app will also lead up to other discussions on migration and youth participation, hoping that it will also give us a feedback from the field that we can develop again social projects, hopefully with again various kind of partners. So that's all for me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Yasmin. And now, from Youth Approaches to Health Foundation, I want to call Janan Demir to tell us a few words about dissemination with her organization.
Şu. Tabii. Tamam. Şuradan gösteriyorum değil mi? Merhabalar, ben bugün Sağlıkta Genç Yaklaşımlar Derneği adına buradayım. Sizlere biraz Sağlıkta Genç Yaklaşımlar Derneği'ni anlatmak, biraz genç mültecileri destekleme programı kapsamında neler yapıyoruz, biraz da REACH ile ilişkimiz ne, bundan bahsetmek için buradayım.
Hello, today I would like to present a youth approaches to health association and its activities, including the support, what's the English translation of the project? Support to Refugees project? Your original
destekleme projesi.
Support to Refugees project, and also our role in the REACH project.
Sağlıkta Genç Yaklaşımlar Derneği yani YPeer Türkiye, ilk önce bu YPeer ağının ne olduğundan bahsederek aslında anlatmak en doğrusu olacaktır.
So I first would like to start by explaining what a YPeer network is.
Doğu Avrupa, Merkez Asya, Arap ülkeleri ve Asya Pasifik'te 40'tan fazla ülkede kurulmuş bir genç akran ağı aslında ve Türkiye'deki tüzel kişilik kazanmış halde Sağlıkta Genç Yaklaşımlar Derneği.
Bir önceki slayda geçebilir miyim?
Tabii.
So YPeer Network is a network in more than 40 countries in Eastern Europe, Central Asia, Arab countries and Asia Pacific.
Genç Akran Ağı'nın Türkiye'de tüzel kişilik kazanmış hali Sağlıkta Genç Yaklaşımlar Derneği ve aslında temel olarak gençlik ve cinsel sağlık üreme sağlığı kesişiminde çalışan bir dernek.
So Youth Approaches to Health Association is actually the institutionalized, let's say, or legal form of YPeer Turkey, and it was founded in 2015. I'll just add something. I'm one of the founding members of this association. I'm actually the first YPeer local focal point for Turkey. as a dinosaur of this network. It's good to be here and presenting your work. But anyway, so the Wipe Here Turkey network works more on reproductive and sexual health of young people.
Bu kapsamda çeşitli proje ve çalışmaları mevcut. Mesela sadece üreme sağlığıyla çalıştığı spesifik bir projesi var. Bunu üreme sağlığını ve cinsel sağlığı farklı noktalardan, farklı bakış açılarıyla gençleri güçlendirecek farklı çalışmaları da mevcut. Hepsini şimdi tek tek saymayacağım.
So the association works with young people actually to empower them on especially reproductive and health issues. I do not want to list all the activities, but they're mainly about empowering young people on sexual and reproductive health and rights.
Şimdi Genç Mültecileri Destekleme Programı da Sağlıkta Genç Yaklaşımlar Derneği'nin gençleri farklı bakış açılarıyla yine desteklediği bir programı.
So, Support to Refugees project is one of the main projects of the association, and it again aims to empower young people.
Bu programda Birleşmiş Milletler Nüfus Fonu yani UNFPA Türkiye Ofisi desteğiyle sürdürüyoruz bu programı. Yalnızca işte mali destek değil, tabii beraber sürdürdüğümüzü söyleyebilirim bu programı. 2015 yılından beridir de faaliyetlerini sürdürüyor.
So this project is supported financially and actually also technically by the UNFPA office in Turkey, and the project has been going on since 2015.
Bu program kapsamında genç mültecilerle çalışıyoruz. 15-30 yaş arasındaki gençlerle beraber gençlerin cinsel sağlık, üreme sağlığı, toplumsal cinsiyet gibi konularda desteklemek ve çeşitli alanlarda doğru bilgiye ulaşmalarını sağlamak için çalışmalar sürdürüyoruz.
In this program, we work with young refugees who are between the ages of 15 to 30, and we work on reproductive and sexual health related topics, as well as gender related issues, gender-based violence, access to healthcare, etc.
Program kapsamında 4 tane gençlik merkezimiz var. Hatay'da, Diyarbakır'da, Ankara'da ve İzmir'de.
We have 4 youth centers which operate in Izmir, Ankara, Diyarbakır and Hatay.
Şimdi biraz da bu gençlik merkezlerinde sunulan hizmetlerden bahsedeceğim. Aslında temelde birkaç tane ana başlık altında çeşitli çalışmalar sürdürüyor. Bunlar psikososyal destek, sağlık hizmeti, sosyal uyum, akran eğitimleri ve savunuculuk çalışmaları. Bu çalışmalar, bu başlıklar altında da çalışmalar şekilleniyor.
So these youth centers provide services on different aspects, including psychosocial support, healthcare services, social integration, peer education, and advocacy activities.
Mesela cinsel sağlık, üreme sağlığına örnek verirsek bu kapsamda ne hizmetler var? Sağlık eğitmenleri tarafından verilen aile planlaması, üreme sağlığı, kadın sağlığı danışmanlığı, cinsel yolla bulaşan enfeksiyonlar, HIV, AIDS gibi birçok noktadan hem bireysel hem farkındalık çalışmaları yapılıyor.
So the educators of the centers, the health educators, they increase awareness of people, both individually and in groups, on family planning, reproductive health, women's health, sexually transmitted infections, HIV, AIDS, hygiene, etc.
Psikologlar tarafından toplumsal cinsiyete dayalı şiddete yönelik hizmetler koruyucu, önleyici veya maruz kalanlarla birebir çalışmalar yapılıyor veya psikososyal taraftan destekleniyor. Yine bireysel taraftan ve grup farkındalığı tarafından destekleniyor kişiler.
And psychologists who work in these centers also work on gender-based violence issues, including increasing awareness of people, preventing gender-based violence, and also they work with victims of violence, gender-based violence.
Akrandan akrana yani gençlerin tekrar gençlere bilgi aktardığı, cinsel sağlık, üreme sağlığı noktasında bilgi aktardığı akran eğitimleri de devam ediyor.
So we also continue working on youth peer education, and we have youth peer educators in our centers.
Diğer bir başlık sosyal uyum ve güçlenme alanında Türkiye'li ve Suriyeli mülteci gençleri bir araya getirip aslında çeşitli noktalardan yapılandırılmış aktivitelerle kişileri destekliyoruz. Sosyal uyuma dair taraflarını sosyalleştikleri alanlarda ya da kamusal alanlarda destekliyoruz kişileri.
The centers also have activities on social, I don't know if it's the right term, harmonization, cohesion. Social cohesion and empowerment activities. Yes, cohesion is the right word. Thank you.
Bunlara örnek olarak örneğin Türkçe konuşma atölyeleri, İngilizce konuşma atölyeleri, mesleki kurslar, el becerilerini geliştirebilecekleri atölyeler, özel gün ve haftalar için farkındalık çalışmaları, sportif faaliyetler, gençlik festivalleri, üniversite ziyaretleri gibi sosyalleştikleri neredeyse tüm alanlarda varız.
So the centers are active in different aspects of social activities, including language courses, courses on specific occupational skills, and activities on certain special days and weeks, and sportive activities, cultural activities, visits to the universities, etc.
Bunlar örnekler.
So these are some of the examples of activities.
Şimdi burada hibe programı ve dijital hikayeleştirme eğitimi diye bir başlık var. Bu ne? Bizler merkezlerde sunduğumuz hizmetlerin yanı sıra genç mültecilerle aslında daha fazla nasıl entegre olabiliriz, daha fazla nasıl bir arada olabiliriz hakkında da veya daha fazla nasıl güçlendirebiliriz noktasında da bir sürü çalışmalar yapmaya çalışıyoruz.
So we also would like to find new ways to empower young refugees, and therefore there is a specific program called mini grants program for refugees and digital storytelling.
Örneğin dijital hikayeleştirme noktasında gençlerin, genç mültecilerin senaryo yazımı noktasında güçlenmesi için uzman kişilerden eğitimler almalarını sağladık. Daha sonra güçlendikleri noktalardan kendi hikayelerini yazdılar ve bunun şu anda animasyonunu yapma noktasındalar. Yani şu an SG'de bu noktada.
So in the digital storytelling education, young refugees received training from professionals on storytelling, and they created their own stories. And now we are in the process of working on animation of those stories created by young people.
Hibe programı kapsamında çeşitli grupların, Türkiye'li ve mülteci grupların, gençlerin bir araya gelerek yazdıkları projelerin desteklendiği bir program. 8 tane proje desteklendi bu hibe programı kapsamında. Bunlardan bir tanesi de REACH ekibiydi.
So in the mini grants program, we try to support projects that are developed by young refugees and local youth and are implemented by youth. So this year we supported 8 projects, and one of them was the project submitted by the REACH youth team.
Evet, bu REACH ekibiyle yaptığımız bu hibe programı sürecinde aslında detaylar paylaşıldı ama Türkiye'li ve mülteci gençler bir arada hem birbirlerini güçlendirdikleri hem kişilerin güçlendiği bir alan yaratıldı ve bu alanda kişiler mesela toplumsal cinsiyete dayalı şiddet, mesela cinsel sağlık, üreme sağlığı noktalarında güçlendirildiler.
So in the mini grants program, the REACH team, youth team, worked on empowering themselves and also other youth on issues related to sexual and reproductive health and gender-based violence.
Yani aslında temel olarak buradan da REACH ekibiyle olan bağlantıyı çıkartacak olursak, Sağlıkta Genç Yaklaşımlar Derneği'nin çalışmış olduğu gençlik ve cinsel sağlık üreme sağlığı noktası, genç mültecileri destekleme programı kapsamında genç mültecileri aynı zamanda Türkiye'li gençleri bir araya getirdiğimiz ve güçlendirme yaptığımız ve cinsel sağlık üreme sağlığı noktası ve diğer noktalarda güçlendirdiğimiz bir süreç bunların hepsi.
Okay, I'll summarize this since it's very long. I'll just summarize. As Youth Approaches to Health Association, we are linked with the REACH project in several aspects, including sexual and reproductive health, gender-based youth issues, with our mini grants program, peer education program, and empowerment activities.
Son olarak bunlar için söyleyebileceğim şey ise yaptığımız tüm çalışmalar içerisinde akrandan akrana bilgi ve bilgilendirme metodunu kullanıyoruz. Tüm dünyada da kanıtlanmış bir metot ve gençler en çok gençlerden bilgi alıyor. Biz de bu doğrultuda gençleri gençlerle güçlendirdiğimiz, beraber güçlendiğimiz alanlar yaratmaya çalışıyoruz aslında.
So as the Youth Approaches to Health Association, we are mainly focused on peer-to-peer methodologies, peer education, peer-to-peer methods, because this is a proven method to raise awareness among young people, to train young people on certain issues, and we know that it works. Young people learn from their peers in an effective way. That's why we want to use this peer approach in all our activities.
Evet, bu kadar. Teşekkür ederim.
Thank you. Eight, 9 minutes.
Or together?
Yes.
Each?
No, together.
Actually, you can stay. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second panel. So I want to invite all of the panelists to come back on stage. Please look where your little name tag is and sit behind the chair. And now I want to turn it to you. Dear audience members, if you have any questions, points of clarification, suggestions on how we can make this better, I think you are here, right? But maybe I want to start off by answering a question that you asked in the first panel about vaccine. So, you, sir, yes. So as Özge has already said, we are putting information, or we will be putting information about vaccine hesitancy. But something that I can imagine very well with the app development is to have random questions that show up on the screen when you open the app that would say, COVID vaccines are now available. Are you planning on taking it? Yes, no. And then people can decide whether to answer. So that could be something that we could include, and it could be of national interest. So that's one way that I imagine this could be included and a point of development. So, yes.
Thank you so much for that. So I wanted to ask one more question about whether you is this application giving information on health services only provided by the government or public services, or did you have any mapping on other providers? For example, as giving you an example, for example, civil society organizations, UN agencies, or international organizations may have some supportive or additional services that refugees will benefit from this. So this, I know that I'm aware that this requires larger mapping on all of these services, but I think that it's very important to put this information as well, because these civil society organizations, they are working on this on the ground, so this may be helpful. So thank you.
I can answer this question. Can you hear me? Okay, so yes, we are trying to map all available services if they are registered legal services. So this includes state-owned public institutions, service providers, private ones, private hospitals. But of course, since Turkey is a large country and there are many small, medium, or large scale health care centers, we started with the bigger ones, especially in the private sector. But we did map many private hospitals in cities. We also included centers like youth centers, women's centers that are operated by NGOs or UN organizations, and municipalities as well. So it's difficult to do this, but we hope that we can map all services, especially in the cities mostly populated by migrant populations, but we would like to include the main NGOs working with migrants, refugees, not just the physical services, but also hotlines and reliable websites by those organizations. So I'm sure we will miss some of them, but hopefully in time, because now we'll release the application in 1 month time, but after that we will update the content regularly. So it's very important that we get feedback from you and from the users as well, so that we can update and have the most updated information available in the application. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yes?
Yes, thank you very much for the presentations. I work for the United Nations Technology Bank for the Least Developed Countries. We're based outside of Istanbul. I have a question. I mean, this is because we are in Turkey, but we don't work for Turkey. I mean, we are working in Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. So when you plan this app, I mean, did you think of maybe replicating it in the future in other countries or for other communities? So what makes it, I'm not an IT person, so I'm just asking, the content is the thing that makes it different, is it? I mean, there is a skeleton, I guess, but the content will have to be changed when you want to replicate in other countries. So I just wanted to ask your views on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. So the original country was Turkey, and was the country that we received the first funding for from Taiwan ICDF. So that's how we were able to start initially. We wanted it to be a regional initiative because the crisis does not just affect Turkey, it also affects Jordan and Lebanon. And so we are very proud actually that we were able to fundraise and therefore extend the project already to Lebanon and Jordan. And actually our colleagues are in the room. So Nuhad is the PI for the project in Lebanon, and then Dr. Sahar and Dr. Musa are the PIs for the project in Jordan. So they are a little bit behind only because they started after us. So Turkey started September 2019, and now we are going to be going through the same stages. But you are right, the bone of the app will be the same, the information will be different. So obviously the localization and the health services will be adapted to the local country. But it's also interesting to see what type of problems they face. You know, a Syrian young person in Lebanon, do they have the same problem that they have in Turkey? Probably not. One of the issues is the language, right? So they will not have a language issue over there. So how do you adapt the application so that it's specific to the target country? Then, if we are able to create more partnerships, then we would love to expand it to further countries, because obviously the issues are not just for young people in Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan, and they're not just for refugees. They're pan-youth, right? And so one of the things that we are very happy about is the fact that we did not just consider, oh, these problems are for young refugees, to actually realize, well, there are similar problems in the youth population, in minorities, in maybe LGBT groups, etc., that the local population should also benefit from. And so then it becomes an app that has a resonance worldwide, sadly, right? You had a question, sir?
Yes. Thank you very much again, this second round of presentations. Just maybe as a follow-up, mine is not actually a question but a recommendation. There are other general purpose maps, primarily done by UNHCR. We have as IGAM IMAPI application. I think Turkish Red Crescent community has an app. I would suggest to put, these are for general mappings, somehow connection with this kind of other maps would give you a better opportunity to disseminate it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for the recommendation. We agree. I mean, since we are not, doing something commercial, we're not for profit. We are trying to create linkages with all the efforts. So instead of inventing the wheel again, it's very important that we give links to existing resources, including existing apps by your organization and other important organizations. So it's really important. Thank you.
Yes, gentleman in the back.
Hello, everyone. My name is Faisal Hu from Taiwan Tzu Chi Foundation. In past 7 years, we are giving service to Syrian refugees in Sultan Ghazi, Al-Nawudkyo, and Ghazi Osman Pasha. Almost 2.8 million individuals they benefit from our foundation in charity and in health and also in the education. So in the sector of the health, we found biggest problem is language problem. So we try to find a solution for that. Is we have some people in our office, especially for making the rendezvous for the hospital. Then they need another translator in the hospital also. So we send so many volunteers to each hospital, like Hasaki and also Taksim Hospital, like this, in the main hospital. So in this today, I thank you very much for your presentation and for your research. I think this app will be very useful for them. And in next 3 months, I hope in our area, almost the 60,000 people, we will use this app. I will suggest them to use this app. But in next stage, I wish also, if they are possible, in next stage we can cooperate together. For example, if someone they want searching for the service of the medical service, we can cooperate together. We have the volunteers, we can going together, and we can, from here, we can send the volunteer, also cooperate, we can send the service to there. So this is what I'm thinking now. Of course, in the Syrian refugee right now, in this country, they're facing a lot of tension, pressure to that. But from our view, by humanity view, we hope everybody, especially not just Syrian, also the Afghanistan, they can have some chance to find solution for the health problem. And I'm very thanks for everybody, what's your effort in this sector, and thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we're very excited with the possibility to work with Tzu Chi Foundation. It's a great organization, and I very much respect your work. Thank you. I saw another hand. Okay, you in the front, sir.
Hello. Thank you for your work that you guys are doing. I had a couple of questions, but first, has there been any work done specifically or directly with the Afghan community here? Is there anything that's being built that is in Dari and Pashto? And also, if that is being built, is there any options for like a voice over, because there's a high illiteracy rate among the refugees? Second question is there any physical materialization of this work, like a space where some of these efforts are consolidated in one area where refugees can come pick up information or speak directly with refugees who are working inside of a center, something like a refugee social center kind of a thing that cooperates with some of these organizations from the university or hospitals, clinics, things like this, but also maybe even provides the counseling there. I think that's it for questions.
You take the first, I'll take the second.
I actually couldn't understand the first question.
Okay, so the first question was whether we are working with Afghan refugees and whether we are thinking about the languages. So I can answer or you can answer.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, yes. So we started working with Arabic-speaking migrants because the project also involves Lebanon and Jordan, and we first started with the biggest migrant population in those three countries, so that we could at least compare what we are doing, and we could learn from each other, because the population is the same, but they're living in different countries and they have different rights and access to care and different problems. So we were interested in, learning more about different country experiences, and also, of course, our, resources are also important in this case. But we hope that we can expand the app and the content and have different languages available. We don't have any restriction for users, so anyone, Turkish, Afghan, even Erasmus students can use the application when they come to Turkey, because it will also be available in English, and many of the main healthcare centers will be there. So we don't have any restriction with age, language, or or legal status, but we do have restriction when we think about the languages available right now. We hope as soon as we first evaluate the impact of this application with Arabic-speaking refugees, then it would be ideal to have more languages as soon as possible.
Yeah, and so for the second question about the physical center, we do not currently have a physical center dedicated specifically for the welcoming, the greeting of young Syrian refugees. However, we have a presenter who will quickly talk about his center in Turkey that does exactly that. So
I can only say that although the project doesn't have its own center, we do work with, that's why we have partners.
Yes.
We do have Youth Approaches to Health Association as our partner, and they have their youth centers. So we hope that during the dissemination phase, we work closely with those centers, and hopefully refugees who use those centers, so receive services from those centers, will be more aware of the application, and they will be, of course, they are already getting services, physical, I mean, in-person, let's say, services from those centers. We hope we will be able to make the link with the app and the physical services, but we will first start with those 4 centers, and then we hope we can also create the link with the migrant health centers of the Ministry of Health, so that physical services are linked with the digital ones.
I guess one part that was missing was, is there a voice option, like for people who are illiterate?
Unfortunately, not right now, but it's a very important, I mean, very good recommendation. We can discuss this with Emin and see what we can do with respect to that.
Actually, that's a really good suggestion, as accessibility is one of the most important features, especially in these days and years. So we need to somehow find a way to how to quickly implement the accessibility for the people. And besides the accessibility, also our search bars should be, voice supported as well on the application.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Sahan.
Thank you very much for the useful information. Thank you. During our interview lately, it's part of our life now. During the interviews, one of the problems that face people who create a program in Jordan about information for refugees is that one of the technicians said when the status change for the refugees, they create or they give them a new number. And when they want to get back again to the system to pursue with what they've been looking for, the system rejected them. And one of them said, we can't have a photo because it's with confidentiality. They don't want to have a photo. But she said this is one of the negativity or gaps that we needed to overcome. And in Jordan now, currently, the issue of online crimes, online, identity online is very strict, to the extent we have to register this first, of course, and take the permission to open such a website. So I don't know in terms of computer how, if you have the, the experience, how we can overcome this. I don't know. Maybe you face such issue.
I will let our tech expert maybe answer that question.
Yeah, this is for him.
Yeah, actually I am thinking from the perspective of REACH4Health application, as personal identities is not important to us. So there is no need to actually back up something or back up user behaviors. Even one of the most important things in the REACH4Health application is that the anonymity. because in the user group studies, we noticed that the people are sharing same phones within same household. So that means that we need to somehow keep the informations that user checked or searched or visited on the application as anonymous. Even they may not want to share them with their family members as well. So I don't see this as a problem for the REACH4Health application actually.
How come you would know that this is the same person that he went to open his page? Because the number changed. You know, in Jordan, we register refugees or migrants with a number. If their status changed, the number changed. And the person, when he gets back, the technician wouldn't know that this is the person. So he would, just close because how he would know that this is the same person but a new number? I mean, this is the things that...
Yeah, probably you can't know. But there are some methods actually by making some video calls to understand if you have some photo of that user or the registration processes are not so much valid information on the web or on the application side, because we are not verifying our maybe IDs, the national IDs or the passports or some other kind of acceptable documents. If you are only verifying these documents on an application, then you can recover them in somehow. They will ask you to, okay, if you are that person, just send these documents, and then we can understand that this is your profile, etc. But otherwise, there is no method for that.
Okay, I want to thank all of the panelists, and I will now invite Dr. Cho to join us. So thank you so much for your contributions. And by the way, if you have more questions, there is a reception that will follow. We have time to talk after that. So 2 weeks ago, I was at an event in New York organized by the Taiwanese consulate, and I was a speaker, and I was introduced to a young Columbia graduate from the architecture school who was talking about a really interesting project also involving young Syrian refugees in Turkey. And so I took the liberty to invite him. He has a very short 5-minute presentation. With your permission, he will quickly introduce it, and then we can close our session. Dr. Cho.
Okay, so can you hear me? Okay, perfect. So my dear friend, let's talk about Syrian refugee crisis. Can the border wall solve the crisis of Syrian refugees? If we can build 800 kilometers border wall between Turkey and Syria, why we use the same wall to build a hope? Use this military wall and convert it as a humanitarian wall. Previously, they separated people. Now we use this wall to create a shared space between Turkish citizens and the Syrian refugees. In Reyhanlı, a small border town next to the border, no matter you're a Turkish citizen or Syrian refugees, everyone is Muslim. Everyone see Aleppo Umayyad Mosque as the most important religious site. Unfortunately, the mosque has been demolished during the civil war. But the mosque, the beautiful vault structure of Umayyad Jami, is 10 meters high and 6.3 meters in width. We try to rebuild the Aleppo Umayyad Mosque. Taiwan Reyhanlı Center for World Citizens, 7,000 square meters, 52 units, each of the units facing Mecca. Even we collect the broken concrete block and transform them as a facility of a children's playground. Because we want to use this playground to tell the world, one day all the wall will fall. On that day, our children will crossing over the border without any difficulty. On that day, our children, no matter where they come from, has different religious, nationalities, age, or gender. Everyone will be treated equally. Everyone will become part of world citizens. Even we try to invite the local NGOs, especially the NGO taking care of our ladies, and to do the participatory design and the collaborative construction. The Taiwan Rehana Center is not just serving the Syrian refugee, but also serving everyone, including Turkish on site. If you say, Cho, what's your strategy in responding to the Syrian refugee crisis? I say, we have so many different kind of disadvantaged group. With my own limited ability as a volunteer, I spend all my savings. I say, children is our help. But how do I help the children? I help the mother. But how do I help the mother? The people say, Syrian know how to do the weaving. So we work with 150 ladies with 5 local NGOs at the Rehana. We do the weaving, do the kitty face. That's our first prototype. This is also our first prototype. This is our first prototype. Unfortunately, there's no kitty, there's no cat in Syria because no one knows how the kitty look like. This is look like the Star Wars Yoda, Master Yoda, if it's a green color. No one knows how to do it. No one knows the design. Fortunately, I'm a professor working at Peking University. I know how to teach the design. I tell the lady, you are not a worker in a factory. You are artist. You are designer. Everyone should have your own style. So today we have 150 different kind of kitty because we have 150 ladies. And even I still remember first time we finished the first blue-eye kitties. And this blue-eye kitty is made by Nazarene because her daughter Ryan has a beautiful blue eye. And this blue-eyed kitty is the hope of the family because Ryan has no leg. Because 5 years ago, there's one suicide bombing, take the 2 legs from her. And they want to sell this Meow Meow Punch to Taiwan to earn a saving and try to help the daughter to finish her operation. Then you say, why, Joe, you make a Meow Meow Punch? Because in Hatay, we have a very famous product called Halepo soap. Halepo soap is a house soap and made by olive oil and laurel oil. And Halepo soap is a house soap. A house soap, then you got a problem. What kind of problem? Because people in Taiwan, they don't have hair like me. And Halepo soap is very hard, so it's like a brick. So if you use Halepo soap like this, you get hurt. So I tell our Syrian ladies, we must put Halepo soap into the Meow Meow Punch. So that means when people in Taiwan taking a shower, just like a kitty kissing you. And then the lady said, Joe, what a wonderful idea. So we start to do the Meow Meow Punch and sell Halepo soap in Taiwan. And then people say, Joe, if people don't like Meow Meow, they want a puppy. Then why not puppy? We try our best. All the necessary we have done. All the unnecessary we also finished. So the wolf scarf, adult version, children's version. This is for adult. This is for children. Basically, I should be bankrupt in this March because I have continued work as a volunteer for this project, as principal architect, as the founding director. But with this beautiful puppy and kitty, we survived. And more importantly, I find a group of young men work with me. This is my project manager, and he is here. He will come back very soon, Wally. I tell you a true story. Last year, Wally told me in one night, Joe, I left Halepo 10 years ago. I live in Turkey. I hate this place because Turkey never treat our Syrian refugee equally. Before I meet you, Joe, actually I already decided after I graduate from Gazi University, I will sell everything from me. I will go to Izmir, try to get into the fishing boat and try my best illegally enter Italy. I hate this place. There's no hope for us. And I tell Wally, once you arrive in Italy, the European will treat you equally. And he said, Joe, you don't understand. I said, I don't understand. My grandparents, they are war refugees. In 1949, they leave China and live in Taiwan for 45 years. After 45 years, they come back to China. They lost everything. Joe, you don't understand. I said, what? I don't understand. I'm homosexual and gay. My husband and I, we come from a relatively conservative Chinese society. Equality, this is what we are also searching for. Joe, Taiwan is far much better. It's not like Turkey. Taiwan, what is Taiwan? A small island country, but never recognized as an independent state. People in Taiwan, we also want to be treated equally. We also want to be part of a world citizen. I tell him, if there's a hope in this world, it is definitely not in Europe. It is in our hand. What it come back where you come from, and let's try it again. And I say, ladies and gentlemen, let's work together and try it again. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Jan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cho, for this inspiring presentation and for joining us on such short notice. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our afternoon. So I want to thank you all for participating. I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us and to listen to what we had to present. So first of all, to all of the presenters, panelists, again, round of applause for your contributions. To CGC Istanbul for hosting us, thank you so much. And although they couldn't be here, so I'm going to look at the camera, ICDF in Taiwan, thank you so much for your partnership for the last 2 years for making this possible. We are very, very grateful. So in terms of next steps, multiple. With regards to Turkey, we are minutes from launching our application. We are very excited. This was obviously a year and a half of hard work. You have seen some of it. And now the fruit is ready to be harvested. And we count on all of you to help us disseminate through your organization, through your contacts, but also give us feedback as we have told you through the session. So if you are a user yourself and you find that there are ways, simple or less simple, that we can make it more useful, more friendly for our end users, please stay in touch with us and let us know. We would be very, very happy to hear from you. And next steps, so we are also expanding into countries, as I said before, Lebanon and Jordan. And so if you stay in touch with us and you are interested in the regional initiative, we would also be interested in telling you what happens over there. But in the meantime, again, thank you all for participating in presence and online, and I wish you all a good evening. There is now a photo exhibit that we invite you to join, and there will be drinks served next door. So we have a reception and we will be able to continue the conversation. So thank you so much. And
I just would like to give you 1 minute information about the photos here so that you can look at them with that information. So the photos here on this wall are taken by the refugee and local youth in Turkey, and you will see their names. So I mean, of course, it's with their permission that we printed those photos, and you will see quotes, short quotes. So those quotes are from the young people who took that photo, and here are some of the young people who participated in our Photo Voice project, although they're not all of them, but some of them are here. And you will see other photos on the other walls. So in our Photo Voice project, we worked with a professional photographer who also works at Koç University, Ms. Laleper Aytek, who was our advisor as a professional photographer, and she also brought her students, photography students. So those photos were taken by Ms. Laleper Aytek and her students, and they contributed to this Photo Voice project and the exhibition with their own work. So I hope you will I don't want to say, I mean, Yes, so if you have any questions, we'd be very happy to answer those questions. And we also would like to thank Laleper Aytek and her students for contributing to our project. Thank you.
social, it's most